brought Connor into the office because been working with Connor for a long time on some of the social skills, noticing a lot of sensory with him, and he had occupational therapy and that in the past, but just knew some things were going on that were related to his birth experience. Just had some birth complications, always kind of knew that something was going on. I heard Dr. Tony speak at one of our early childhood collaboratives with my job, and always kept that tucked in the back of my mind, and thought, you know what, I think it's time. I want to try something. Because as Connor was entering into first grade, this was his first year of all day, everyday school, because he only had half days in kindergarten. And so kind of noticed that he was having a hard time in school. So some of the sensory started escalating, and the focus and attention at school, you know, was kind of getting to the point of, okay, where are we at? How is he doing? What questions did the teacher have? And a lot of the sensory kind of came up again, and the sensory kind of behavioral back and forth. And I thought, you know what, I think it's more sensory. There was a period where he was always in the fight or flight. And so that fight and flight came as a very busy little guy when he was little, kind of the crash and burn, as I called it. But that started when we came a year ago, a year and 3 months ago with Dr. Tony. We started seeing some of that fight and flight turn into angry bursts. Like all of a sudden out of nowhere, things weren't quite going the way we wanted. We're getting anxious, and we reacted with some anger, and I shouldn't say aggression, it was more anger. Wasn't sure where that was coming from because he was not that type of child. And so that really got us going with Dr. Tony. So the difference from a year ago is we have a child who is focused in school. This year, being in second grade, his teacher seems pretty impressed with how Connor is able to keep it together, and is doing very well in the class. She has no questions, you know, is what she's relaying to us. Like, I don't think if I would have sat down and spoke with her and just wanting her to know everything we're doing, that she would even feel that he had the issues he had a year ago.
Awesome. That's
so
awesome.
I think that's great. Yeah. So
good stuff.
Yeah, it is a lot of positives. It's hard to put it into words on all the changes that we're seeing with him.
Okay, and so for a lot of people, they might think, okay, so you got there a year ago, so, or, you know, within a year's time, so why are you continuing to come?
I want to keep him there. Connor's in a good place, and I don't feel any need for him to go backwards. This is his body adjusting. He is learning what his body needs. He is able to voice that, and he isn't, his treatment, if you want to say, isn't where we were a year ago. That's getting less. He knows he's doing a lot of this. It's him. And so we're going to keep him where he's at and to keep him feeling successful. Because to me, that's what it's about. It's about him feeling successful. He's figuring out what his body needs. He knows what his body feels. And we did that with Dr. Tony's help and with all the people involved that Dr. Tony got us involved with. And so everybody's working together, and we did all of this without putting our child on medication.
Great. Awesome.
Which is...
That's huge.
Huge, because, you know, what Connor was exhibiting a year ago, if we would have went elsewhere, it can be easily solved with medication.
Sure can.
So I like to put that out there, that we knew that that wasn't a point. This is something that, you know, affected him at birth, and we just need to figure out he's a different thinker. His world is a little bit different, and I like that. I didn't want that to change. I didn't want him to change. I wanted him to feel how to make himself be the best he can be in his environment.
How can he adapt?
How can he adapt? How can we put him in the classroom and expect him to do everything that is expected of him? Let him do that within what he's able to do.
Right.
Let him adapt, and he's been able to do it. And
that's great.
He's a huge success story in that realm. So
that's great stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. That's probably I'm the most proud of is him and where he has come in the last year. You just kind of have to know him to see how far he's come.
Yeah.
So
Great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep, absolutely.
That's good stuff.
It is.